Hi Leos, welcome and thank you for joining me. I'm Lunarcraft from Psychic Truth and I'll be delivering this week's AstroTarot indications, and as usual I'll be focusing on a particular sign of the zodiac while giving details of the general trends, moving on then to look at how those could impact on you, Leo, and finally drawing 3 tarot cards and interpreting the messages they have for you. As has been the picture pretty much for the whole of this year so far, the heavens have been extremely active, and although there's slightly fewer events this week, the moon that triggers most of the planetary behaviours, it's still very active. So, just to summarise it, there's 24 events this week in total, and the moon is involved in 22 of those. So, again, I'm faced with a very long list to consider. Given this challenge, I'll give the highlights of what to be aware of, starting with us all feeling courageous and resourceful, open-minded, and endowed with great willpower. Also, we're feeling happy and keen to socialise. Spring's on its way, why not get out there? Get outside, get some fresh air, meet people that you haven't seen for some time, even meet new people, because hey, some of them could prove to be helpful to us in the near future. Also, if you're going through any form of study or training, there will be supportive energy being given to you, along with an improvement in our mental faculties. However, I will briefly focus on the moon and start by saying that at the beginning of the week, the moon is in Aquarius, and that brings humanitarian thoughts to the front of our minds. However, later in the week, it reaches its first quarter. So that's halfway between new moon and full moon. The moon moves into Cancer later on and brings important information and comforting thoughts of home, security, rest, and family. On the final day of the week, the moon moves into Leo, making us feel confident and keen to express ourselves and indeed express our desires. Alongside this, we're probably feeling quite flirty and looking for pleasure and enjoyment. And hey, why not? After the last couple of years, why not? So, there's the general influences, Leo. Now let's look at what's in store for your star sign this week. You're part of the fire family, all right? That means that you are one of the more energetic of the signs. Inspirational, in fact, I would say. However, like Taurus, once you've got an idea in your head, it tends to stay there, be quite fixed. Not always a bad thing, but if it becomes stubbornness or obstinacy, then maybe a time for a bit of a rethink. Your ruling planet, again, like Cancerians, is not a planet, it's the sun. And that gives you a lot of really helpful energy. You naturally give off warmth, not because of the sun, but because of your personality. But you're also very creative. And you may even be involved in a creative industry or environment. There are times when you can be a little bit vain. But hey, if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else will. So, just be wary that you don't over-promote yourself. But you've got a huge personality. Everyone is aware that you are around. You want to stand out. You want to be that person that, it makes it sound like a control freak, and it's not meant to, but you like to organise things. You want to get things sorted, get things so they will run smoothly. Also, you're not afraid of hard work. It must be said, because it's that feeds your interest in luxury, being very comfortable, maybe a little bit flashy at times, but hey, if you've earned it, you're entitled to spend it how you see fit. Right, that's it from me as far as the AstroTarot is concerned, or the astrology bit of the AstroTarot is concerned. I'm now going to pick out 3 cards and interpret those messages, as I said before. So, are they running right? I think I better stop shuffling because they're threatening to leap out of my hands. Okay, so there's the first card and the second. And oh, hecky thump. Why is it all the way down here? There it is. Okay, that's the third card. Let's turn them over, see what we've got. Yep. Okay, first off is the 3 of Pentacles. Now that is all about perfecting your skills, getting so you are, dare I say it, the best, because that's what you strive for, to not only do your best, but to be the best, and you won't rest until you get there. But something to bear in mind is, don't forget the people who have helped you along the way, because should things go pear-shaped, should you give up that particular occupation, then you're very likely to meet those same people on the way down. So generally, treat everyone with great respect. Now, the middle card is the Queen of Swords. very, very intelligent, a good communicator. Now, those are traits that I believe are within you also. That's how you get your organising done. That's how you get things running smoothly. You communicate what you want to whoever is around you. So, that card certainly acknowledges those skills, strengths. And then finally, we've got the Two of Pentacles, which is very often to do, because Pentacles are to do with money, it's often referring to keeping things in a balance, but it also refers to keeping yourself balanced. And you can do that by being prepared to give yourself time to rest, to relax, to recharge your energies. And that will keep you on the straight and narrow. I can't think of a better expression. Okay, that's it from me for this week on the AstroTarot. Hi Virgos, welcome and thank you for joining me. I'm Lunarcraft from Psychic Truth, and I'll be delivering this week's AstroTarot, and as usual I'll be focusing on a particular star sign while giving details of the general trends, then moving on to look at how those may impact on your star sign, Virgo, before finally drawing 3 tarot cards and interpreting the messages for you. As has been the picture this year so far, the heavens have been extremely active, and although there are slightly fewer events this week, the moon that triggers most of the planetary behaviours are many. Just to give you a flavour of that, we have 24 events in total, and the moon is involved in 22 of those. So once again, I'm faced with a very long list to consider. Given that challenge, I will deliver the highlights of what to be aware of, starting with all of us feeling courageous, resourceful, open-minded, and endowed with great willpower. Also, we're feeling happy and keen to socialise, even down to meeting new people. And those new people could well prove to be helpful to us in the near future. And, spring's on its way, up here anyway, in the Northern Hemisphere. It's time to get outside, get some fresh air, meet up with people we haven't seen for some time. And after the past couple of years, by gum, do we need some sort of social release. If you're going through any form of study or training, there's supportive energy being given, mainly by Mercury, along with an improvement in our mental faculties. However, I will briefly focus on the moon and point out that it starts the week in Aquarius, bringing humanitarian thoughts to the front of our minds. A little later on, the moon reaches its first quarter. And that's a time to start thinking, well, am I making progress? The moon moves into Cancer very shortly after that quarter moon, and it brings us important and comforting thoughts of home, of security, rest, and indeed the family. On the final day of the week, the moon moves into Leo. And again, we feel confident and keen to express ourselves and indeed our desires. Alongside of that, we're probably feeling quite flirty and looking for pleasure and enjoyment, which links back to increased social gatherings and contact. So, there's the general influences, Virgo. Now let's consider what could be in store for your star sign this week. And I want to just start by setting a bit of context. You belong to the family of earth signs. You are also ruled by Mercury. So communication is really, really important to you. It's also important to you that you don't become rigid in your ideas, your beliefs, because you found that by being flexible, it adds a layer of richness to your life. And you like to feel that you are being useful. You have a good mind for problem solving, and because of that, you can often come up with very workable, very effective fixes for just about anything. You do, however, tend to be somewhat judgmental, but not with any maliciousness in you. It's always with good intentions. It just might be misplaced at times. You have, by and large, excellent spatial awareness. That's something I fail on badly. Also, you're a little bit like Gemini, although that's an air sign, you're not. But you also have 1,000,001 ideas going through your mind virtually every second. But hey, that's where these innovations come from. They've got to start somewhere. So that's it on the astrology side. So I've just picked up my tarot cards. I'm just giving them a quick shuffle before I pick out 3 just for you. Right, there's number 1. There's number 2. And there's number 3. So let's get them turned over and see what's what. Oh, lovely. Okay, so the opening card is the 2 of Wands. And that really is a reminder to you that quite literally the world is your oyster. There is nothing that you couldn't do if you focus and put your mind to it and come up with workable plans. Then in the middle, we've got the Hermit. Now, it's all right, I'm just listening to my guides. Okay. The Hermit is all about that study, that learning, but it's acquiring knowledge for a purpose. And that purpose is to help you to move forward and to have success in your life. It will also have the ability for you to spend time quietly while you contemplate all that knowledge and how you can apply it. And by taking that quiet time, you will find that the way forward actually opens itself to you. It becomes illuminated like the lamp in the Hermit's hand. And then finally, the card that made me smile. It's the Judgment card. And okay, my deck is based around pagan beliefs, but this one is based around the legend of the Phoenix. So things maybe not going quite as well as you would hope. And like the Phoenix, when its energy is depleted, it's not as vibrant as it once was. It bursts into flames, but is reborn again out of the ashes. So it's an analogy. Fair enough. But basically it's saying that good can come from bad. And with the thought processes that you possess, then I don't doubt that you will be able to turn things around, get to a positive outcome. Believe. That's the main thing. Believe in yourself. Okay, so that's it for this week on the AstroTarot. Hi Librans, welcome and thank you for joining me. I'm Lunarcraft from Psychic Truth and I'll be delivering this week's AstroTarot indications for the coming week. As usual, I'll be focusing on a particular sign of the zodiac while giving details of the general trends, then moving on to look at how those may impact on you, Libra, before I draw 3 tarot cards and interpret messages they have for you. As has been the picture this year so far, the heavens have been extremely active, and although there are slightly fewer events this week, the moon, that triggers most of the planetary behaviours, are many movements. All right, that didn't make sense. Never mind. To summarise, we have 24 events in total this week, with the moon involved in 22 of these. So I'm again faced with a very long list to consider. Given this challenge, I'll give the highlights of what to be aware of during this coming week. And I want to start off by saying generally we will all be feeling courageous, ready to take on the world, resourceful, open, and endowed with great willpower. Additionally, we're feeling happy and keen to socialise. We're ready to get out there. The weather's improving in the Northern Hemisphere. Freedom is being encouraged all round. So get out, meet up with people. You may even find that you meet new people, and it's possible that they could well prove to be helpful in the near future. If you are undertaking any form of study or training, Mercury will be giving supportive energy, but also boosting our mental faculties. I will briefly focus on the moon and point out that it starts the week in Aquarius, bringing humanitarian thoughts to the front of our minds. The moon reaches its first quarter towards the end of this week, and it marks the halfway point between the new moon and the next full moon. It's a really good time to check the progress being made towards achieving your goals. The moon moves into Cancer, bringing us important and comforting thoughts of home, of security, rest, and family. So, that's a whiz through the general influences, Libra. Now let's look at what's in store for your star sign this week. I want to just start off by saying you belong to the group of air signs, and as such it means that you are very capable of using your brain. You're a good communicator, but add into that mix the fact that you are a cardinal sign, which means that you dream up wonderful plans, ideas, but being cardinal, you also follow through and put them in action. Your ruling planet, Venus, is very active just at the moment. Now, Venus covers not just love and relationships, but also has an influence on financial dealings, particularly those that are joint interests, such as, say, a mortgage or indeed a long-term loan. Now, you will benefit greatly from the encouragement to get out and socialise, because you hate being alone. It causes your brain to race 100,000 times to the second. You're also really good at making things around you look great. Not just good, great. So your home is always a place that is comfortable, easy to be in, not just for those who live in that space, but also for visitors. You dislike getting involved in conflict, and you'll do whatever you can to avoid those situations. I don't blame you. You've also got the ability to see all sides of a situation, and that can be very helpful when dealing with a potential conflict. As I said, you are capable of using your brain And you could have a tendency to slip off into fantasy. Why not? Without fantasy, we don't get many innovations. And as I said at the top, you are an innovator. However, when it comes to making a decision, that doesn't go easily for you, mainly because you can see all sides and you want to do it all. You know, so why narrow it down to one or two things if there's a range that you can go for? Okay, I've picked up my tarot cards because it's now time for me to pick 3 cards, and I'll keep that one out. Oh, hang on, we got 2 come out. Yep. Brilliant. And, oh, that one, the 3rd one. Oh, nice. All right. The ones that jumped out, the first 2. First one is the Ace of Wands. And that's a sign that there are new beginnings coming your way. New stuff. Fresh. Exciting, I feel. And I also feel very much that this is to do with your work situation. You are going to get the opportunity to move up a rung, at least. All right? Your bosses like the way you come up with workable solutions, so don't stop. All right. The middle card, another one that leapt out of the pack as I was shuffling, is the Ten of Wands, which is very much about having struggled. Perhaps you've taken on too many responsibilities. Not that you're not capable, because you are very capable, but the pressure that's brought on you has caused you to feel as if you are struggling. And I always think of trying to push a bucket of water up a hill without a bucket. Okay, but you'll be pleased to hear that things will now start to get a lot easier, a lot smoother. And that is followed through by your final card, which is the Chariot. And that is very much about being on track, about going forwards with joy. Nothing is going to throw you off course. You find a way of balancing things. It's a really, really positive card. Hi Scorpio, welcome and thank you for joining me. I'm Lunarcraft from Psychic Truth, and I'll be delivering this week's AstroTarot indications, and as usual I will be focusing on a particular zodiac sign while giving details of the general astrological trends, then moving on to look at how those may well impact on you, Scorpio, before drawing 3 tarot cards and interpreting the messages for you. As has been the picture this year so far, the heavens have been extremely active, and although there are slightly fewer events this week, the moon that triggers most of the planetary behaviours is still very active. Just to give you a flavour of that, this week's events are a total of 24, with the moon being involved in 22 of those. So once again, I'm faced with a very long list to think about. Given this challenge, I've decided I'll give the highlights of what to be aware of, starting with all of us feeling courageous, resourceful, open, and endowed with great willpower. On top of that, we're feeling happy and keen to socialise. We've been cooped up for far too long, so let's get out there, start enjoying the better weather, the warmer weather, so they tell us. There's even scope for meeting up with friends who you may not have seen for quite some time, but also meeting new people who could, in turn, prove to be quite helpful in the future. Also, if you're undertaking any form of study or training, there's supportive energy being given by Mercury, along with an improvement in our mental faculties. Now, I will briefly focus on the moon and point out that it starts the week in Aquarius, bringing to the forefront of our minds all things humanitarian. Also, the moon reaches its first quarter towards the end of this week and marks the halfway point between the new moon and the next full moon. It's really, really good time to check the progress that's being made towards the achievement of your goals. The moon moves into Cancer a little bit later on, and that brings us important and comforting thoughts of home, security, rest, and indeed family. On the final day of the week, the moon moves into Leo, making us feel, once again, confident and keen to express ourselves and our desires. Alongside this, we're probably feeling quite flirty and looking for pleasure and enjoyment. So again, it's linking back to, the increased socializing. Go for it. Have fun. Moving forwards, let's see what the heavens have in store for you this week, Scorpio. Okay, I'd like to start off by pointing out that you are the third of the water signs. So, emotion is important to you, but not as important as it is for Pisces or Cancer, your fellow water signs. You also have a fixed view of life, and it takes quite a bit of persuasion to get you to consider other aspects. Now, your ruling planet is Pluto, and Pluto is one of the minor planets, but oh boy, the influence can be astonishing. Can be a bit of a mischief maker, but hey, it keeps life interesting. Now, thinking about the increased socializing and mixing with new people and everything associated with that, be aware that one of your main emotional reactions is betrayal. You feel that you will be let down. It doesn't always happen. So try and push that aside. Don't let it block you looking good in your leather jacket when you go out. Having fun. The last 2 years have been purgatory. Also, you're probably one of the best star signs to cope with what other people would find an uncomfortable situation if silence descends. Doesn't really bother you. You can ride it out. You're also not easy to read. Again, this sort of links in with the socialization, or socializing, I should say. People don't always know whether you are being serious or whether you're having a joke. Sometimes at their expense. So, keeping them on their toes, not a bad thing. Also, you have the tendency to be able to look into people's eyes and they feel that you're actually looking directly at their souls, which can be a bit uncomfortable, but is a great advantage if you're trying to help them over a tricky period. Okay, it's deep connection, without a doubt. Right, I've just picked up my tarot cards because it's time now to choose 3 at random and see what messages they hold for you. Right, there's one. Uh-oh. That one. It's alright, I had 3 together that all wanted to come and play. Right. Oh, that one. Okay, that's the cards dealt. Let's see what we've got. Oh, wow. Absolute wow. You have got such brilliant cards. One of them is a success card. In fact, 2 of them are success cards, but one is success that will be celebrated by other people around you, as well as you knowing you've done a good job, that you've achieved your goals, and that will give you a lot of encouragement to continue on the path you've chosen. Alongside that, you've got the sun. Sorry, that first one, I've just realised I didn't name it, is the 6 of Wands. And it is very closely related to the sun. They're both celebration cards. The sun is about giving you power. I don't mean, power over everyone. Power for yourself to control what you do, to set out with a purpose, and it gives you drive to push until you achieve what you set out to do. And your last card is the Emperor. Now, he's a very powerful man, but it's acknowledging that you too have power within you, and for you, a reminder that you can draw on that at any time. People will listen to things you have to say. As I said, people do struggle to know whether you're being serious or adopting a joking sort of attitude. But when it counts, when it's important, people do listen to you. They take note. And very often they will choose to follow your advice and often look to you as a natural leader. Okay, that's it for the AstroTarot aspect. But while I've got you here, can I do a quick plug? Just to remind you that I do mini tarot readings on Facebook Live and YouTube every Wednesday starting at 9 AM GMT prompt. And I do as many 3-card readings as I can for people who've put forward questions. So if you're able to take some time out, grab a cup of coffee or whatever it is that you drink, come along, join in the fun. And yes, it is fun. The crowd that is building, it grows week on week. And something that started happening probably just last week is that conversations between the viewers are taking place around my readings. It's great. There is so much positive energy that flows around that group. So come along, put forward a question. You never know, you might be picked to have your questions answered. Oh, and before I forget, I also come complete with my team of guides. They they do. They give me help. They give clarity, but mainly help. All right, that's it from me for this week. I wish you an absolutely fabulous week. I'll be back, same place, same time next week, and I really hope that you'll be able to join me. But for now, all that's left for me to say is bye-bye.